Hello. I wanted to talk about my diet again. I've only made one video about being a vegan, and so I wanted to make another one. I originally intended to put a lot of recipes on here, but I have yet to do that. It just requires a little more time and work to film the process of cooking a meal versus sitting here and talking to the camera for 10 minutes. But yeah, I did want to talk about some details about how we live out our whole foods, plant-based lifestyle. And I will start by saying we are flexible because we are very involved in our church, and we don't go to a church where everybody's a vegan. In fact, nobody's a vegan that I know of except us. So, we have people over, people have us over, we have big fellowships where people bring food, and what are we going to do? Bring our own little lunchbox? Yeah, we could do that, but I don't know. That just creates a weird feeling, I think. People can interpret it as being judged for how they eat or criticized, or it can seem like we think we're better. We just avoid that, and we're flexible. We eat wherever we're at, we eat what they have, and at home we eat vegan. So I guess we eat everything non-processed. There are some things that are technically processed, like pasta is in a box, but if you read the ingredients, it's like durum wheat, that's it. And rice, if you read the ingredients, it's long grain white rice. So it's processed technically because it's taken from the field and taken out of the wheat thing, whatever you call it, the husk or something, and then put in a bag. But it's not processed like canned beans and canned vegetables and Hamburger Helper, all these foods that have all these additives and preservatives and food that bacteria won't eat for months and months if it's in your pantry. We make all our bread from scratch. I actually mill my flour, so I buy wheat berries in bulk, mill the flour, and then bake bread, pancakes, waffles, whatever else, banana bread, anything that I use flour for. I use my milled flour. I do have a lot of vegan recipes, like pancakes. We make them with no eggs, no butter. We use almond milk instead. We add flax meal to them. We add bananas, applesauce, oats, cinnamon. It's delicious, with 100% maple syrup. We buy our honey locally. We soak our beans and make them all from dry beans. We don't use any canned beans. We do have frozen vegetables, and that's just because they're not processed. They're picked at their peak and frozen, and we can't afford all fresh vegetables. It's just impossible. The society has it backwards. The food that we need to be eating that's good for us is the most expensive, and the food that's horrible for us is the most accessible and the cheapest, and that is just a shame. But society's got it backwards, and so we are forced to compromise and not eat everything organic and not eat everything fresh because we can't afford it, and that's just sad. We should be able to afford to eat, the food that we need to be eating to thrive as humans. So we do have frozen vegetables, but we also have a garden. Right now I've got 4 tomato plants going, a zucchini plant, a squash plant, a lot of herbs, and a whole bed, like 9 sweet potato plants. So it's not very big, but it's bigger than our first garden. Our first garden was just 1 raised bed, and it was so successful. I was very encouraged, so I went ahead and expanded to 3 raised beds. My husband is so wonderful. He built them for me, and we got some compost from our energy company around here, and it's amazing. They make it out of leaves, and they sell a truckload for $20. So we had like more than half left over, and we just spread it around the church, gave it to friends and whoever needed it. And it's proven to be very good compost because everything has grown very well, and everyone that we've shared with has had great success as well. So we do have a garden. We mill our flour. We make all our beans non-canned, so I always have beans soaking in the kitchen. Our typical breakfast is either oatmeal and I make it with water and then add a little almond milk at the end just to give it a little creaminess. I put flax meal in there, cinnamon, and then we top it with honey. And sometimes I'll put bananas, sometimes I'll put apples, sometimes I'll put raisins, sometimes I'll put blueberries, or top it with strawberries. You know, gotta have a little diversity, so a variety. So I'll do that. And then we also have pancakes a lot, waffles a lot, and then sometimes just bread with some almond butter and honey and flax meal and fruit. That's our typical breakfast. Our typical lunch is either sweet potato fries or baked in the oven, or potato wedges baked in the oven with some vegetable, usually a green, avocado and fruit, or some bread and fruit with potato wedges or sweet potatoes like that. And then if my husband's home, we'll usually do that and a big salad, because I eat salad mainly with him. Sometimes if there's a little left over, I'll have some, even if it's just me and the kids. But my kids don't really eat raw greens yet. You know, they're not able to. So my older one's eating a little bit, so I'll give him like a little leaf or two and a little bit of tomato, and but they don't really like the raw stuff that much yet. So we give them and we let them eat what they will, and then just make sure we stock them up on the cooked stuff. And then for dinner, that's where I have a lot of variety. I have over 40 recipes, and I made a list of all the recipes I have, and then I broke them up into like Mexican, Latin, Italian, American, Mediterranean, like that. And then I took one dish from each type of food and put it in a week. So in 1 week I have one Mexican dish, one Asian dish, one Latin dish, one Mediterranean dish, one Italian dish, one American dish, like that. And it really provides a lot of variety, because with a vegan diet, it is hard, you know, to love one dish and just be able to eat it every week. It's not like before, where meatloaf once a week is fine with me, you know, because that's just so good. The vegan food is delicious, it is, but it you gotta really have a lot of variety. And I've never been a recipe follower. I've always just been in the kitchen throwing stuff together, and whatever comes out is wonderful. And I just feel very confident in the kitchen, and I love cooking. But becoming a vegan has really challenged that and made it a little more difficult. I do have to follow recipes a little more than I like to, but once I do make the dishes once or twice, you know, I get the hang of it, and I don't need the recipe anymore. And recipes also open up ideas in your mind, so you're able to take that idea and just do other dishes, spinning off recipes that you've done before, and create whole different dishes on your own without necessarily following a recipe. So that's fun. That's happened a few times. And then for snacks, we have popcorn, and I'll melt down sun butter, which is sunflower seed butter or peanut butter, and I mix it with flax meal, and then I'll coat the popcorn in that. The kids love it. Or nuts and raisins. We usually have cashews and raisins, but that's just because my kids love cashews and raisins. But we have had other dry fruits and other variety of nuts and seeds, and bread, fruit, bruschetta. I'll make like a big thing of bruschetta and little toast, and my husband and I will eat that with bruschetta or pesto, spinach pesto. And instead of pine nuts in my spinach pesto, I use raw organic cashews, which it makes it so creamy. It's delicious. And I would say that sums it up for us. Our biggest downfall is nighttime. After bedtime, after dinner, we're hungry, and that's when you want the junk food. And so if you have any tips on what you do, let us know. And that's it.